What if the butter in your fridge is not really butter at all? And what if the label is doing exactly what it was designed to do? Make you stop asking questions. If you want more straight talk food breakdowns like this, tap like, subscribe, and share this with the one person in your house who shops by the front label instead of the ingredient list. Today, we are not just ranking products by taste, we are separating real butter from butter theater. Because once you know one simple rule, the entire dairy aisle starts to look different. Here's the rule. In the United States, butter is supposed to be made from milk or cream with or without salt, and it must contain at least 80% milk fat. That sounds simple. Cream, maybe salt. End of story. But when you stand in front of the refrigerated case, simplicity disappears fast. You see words like buttery, spreadable, light, olive oil, avocado oil, heart smart, original, and made with real yogurt. The packaging glows. The colors feel wholesome. The tub looks familiar. And before you know it, you're walking out with something that behaves like butter, markets itself like butter, and sits right next to butter, but is not butter. To be fair, this list is not saying every spread on it is automatically dangerous or that one spoonful will ruin your life. That kind of panic talk is lazy. The real problem is confusion. Many of these products are watered down, oil-heavy, flavor-driven substitutes that save companies money, flatten the taste of your food, and make you pay for branding instead of cream. If you want the rich taste, simple ingredients, clean melt, and real structure that butter gives to toast, eggs, sauces, and baking, these are the ones I would leave behind. And because I want this to be useful, not dramatic for no reason, I'm also ending with 5 products that are actually real butter. Not just yellow spreads with butter-like vibes. Real butter. One more thing before we rank them. I am judging these products by 4 simple questions. First, is it actually butter, or is it a spread borrowing butter's identity? Second, how far does the ingredient list drift from cream and salt? Third, does the product improve your food, or does it just make the package sound healthier, softer, or more convenient? And fourth, if you melted it, baked with it, or spread it on hot toast side by side with real butter, would most people honestly choose it for flavor? That last test matters because grocery shopping gets very strange when marketing starts replacing taste. Also, a product can be popular and still belong on this list. Sales do not prove quality, familiarity does not prove honesty. A brand can sit in millions of fridges for decades and still be something I would never buy if the goal is real butter. So if one of your favorites shows up here, do not take it personally. Take it as a reason to read the label with fresh eyes. So let's open the fridge and start with number 11. Number 11 is Promise Buttery Spread. Promise sells itself on being a smart switch. Less saturated fat. Light, easy modern language. The whole pitch is built around the idea that butter is old news and this is the wiser move. But if your goal is real butter, this is where the story already falls apart. Promise is a vegetable oil spread. That means you're not buying churned cream. You're buying a formulated product built to imitate some of butter's uses, while changing the fat profile and texture. That matters because butter is not just a flavor. Butter is structure. It browns differently. It melts differently. It carries flavor differently. When you spread a vegetable oil product on bread, you may still get fat and salt, but you lose that deep dairy note that makes even plain toast feel complete. And when you bake with products like this, you're no longer getting the same water-to-fat balance that recipes were built around. Cookies spread differently. Pastry changes, cakes behave differently. So if you want butter, do not let the soft language trick you. Promise may be a spread. It is not the real thing. Number 10 is Brumel and Brown Original Spread. This one is clever because it leans into comfort. It tells you it is made with real yogurt. That sounds fresh. It sounds cultured. It sounds almost wholesome enough to trust without checking twice. But look closer and even the brand tells you what it is. A buttery spread made by blending plant-based oils, purified water, and real yogurt. Now think about how different that is from what butter actually is. Butter does not need a team introduction. Butter does not need a paragraph. Butter is cream and maybe salt. Brumel and Brown is built around the idea that if you sprinkle in one feel-good ingredient, people will stop asking what the rest of the product is doing there. The yogurt angle is smart marketing because it gives the tub a healthier personality. But personality is not composition. If you want real butter flavor, this is still a substitute built on oils and water, not a block of dairy richness waiting to transform your food. And that is the deeper issue with so many of these products. They are not always bad because they taste terrible. Some are bad because they make people forget to define what they are buying. If you want a plant oil spread, buy it on purpose. But if you think this is just a lighter butter, that is exactly how people end up overpaying for something they never actually wanted. Number 9 is Smart Balance Original Buttery Spread. Smart Balance is one of the most polished names in this whole category because it sounds like discipline. It sounds like the responsible adult choice. It leads with words like original, buttery, omega-3 ALA, and lifestyle friendly. The message is obvious. This is not just a substitute. It is a smarter substitute. But again, when you strip away the branding, it is still a non-dairy buttery spread built from vegetable oils. And the biggest trap here is the word buttery. Buttery is not butter. It only means the brand wants your brain to expect the comfort of butter without the product having to be butter. That single word has probably sold more tubs than the ingredient list ever could. This is where shoppers need to slow down. A health-forward claim on the front does not change what the product is. It only changes how you feel while buying it. And that feeling is valuable. Companies know that. They know if they can make you feel informed, modern, and protected, you're less likely to ask the old-fashioned question, what is actually in this? If your goal is real butter, Smart Balance is not a compromise. It is a detour. It may have its audience. It may fit certain diets. But it does not belong in the same mental category as butter, and that is why it lands on this list. Number 8 is Bluebonnet Vegetable Oil Spread. Bluebonnet carries a lot of history. For many people, it is a childhood product. It sat in family fridges for years, so it feels trustworthy before you even touch it. That is one reason old grocery brands stay powerful. Familiarity makes the label feel honest, but Bluebonnet is telling you right on the package what it is. Vegetable oil spread. Not butter, not even pretending to be a stick of churned cream if you read carefully. The problem is that a lot of shoppers do not read carefully because the brand identity is doing the work for them. The name feels dairy adjacent, the color feels buttery, the use case is buttery, the memory is buttery, and the product slides into the role. This is one of those items people buy because it is cheap, soft, and familiar. And if that is the goal, fine. But cheap softness is not what people usually mean when they say they want butter. They mean richness. They mean flavor that lingers a little. They mean something that makes potatoes taste deeper and toast smell bigger than it should. Bluebonnet gives you convenience, not that experience. Number 7 is Parquet. Few products have lived off the image of butter longer than Parquet. It has that classic, creamy, nostalgic identity that makes people think they are buying a close cousin of butter. But once again, the label pulls the curtain back. Parquet is sold as margarine or vegetable oil spread products, and that distinction matters more than the ads ever did. Parquet is what happens when the idea of butter becomes more important than the ingredients of butter. It is designed to mimic the look, spread, and broad use of butter while keeping costs lower and shelf behavior easier for the brand to control. That is a practical business move. It is not a flavor move, it is not a purity move, and it is definitely not a butter move. The real giveaway comes when you taste products like this side by side with actual butter. Real butter has a roundness. It melts and blooms. It leaves behind a dairy depth that makes simple food feel finished. A product like Parquet can give you salt, softness, and color, but it often cannot give you that same clean richness. And once you notice the difference, it is very hard to unnotice it. Quick butter break. If this list is already changing how you shop, hit subscribe, leave a like, and send this video to your favorite family cook before another fake spread sneaks into the mashed potatoes. Number 6 is Land O'Lakes Light Butter with Canola Oil. This one is especially important because it comes from a brand many people genuinely associate with real butter. And to be clear, Land O'Lakes does sell real butter. But this specific product is not the same thing. Their light version tells the story right in the name. Light butter with canola oil. Once oil enters the formula and the product is sold for lower fat and calorie appeal, you are no longer dealing with a simple butter brick. You are dealing with a modified butter spread. That does not mean it is fraudulent. It means shoppers need to stop treating the parent brand as a guarantee that every item under that logo is pure butter. This is one of the biggest mistakes people make in grocery stores. They trust the master brand so much that they stop reading the product name. But the product name is the truth. Light. With canola oil. Those words matter. And I think this product belongs on the avoid list for one simple reason. If you are choosing butter for flavor, cooking performance, and ingredient simplicity, a light oil-blended version defeats the point. You're paying the butter tax while getting a compromised product. For some people, that trade may be worth it. For butter lovers, it usually is not. Number 5 is Land O'Lakes Butter with Canola Oil. This one is more understandable than the light version because at least the mission is obvious. It wants to be spreadable right out of the fridge. And honestly, that solves a real problem. Nobody enjoys shredding cold toast with a hard butter knife at 7 in the morning. But convenience is where the praise ends, because this is still not pure butter. The official description says it is made with sweet cream, canola oil, and salt. That is a short ingredient list, which is better than many tubs on this list, but it still changes what the product is. The extra oil changes the taste, changes the mouthfeel, and changes the value proposition. You are buying a butter oil blend, not a simple dairy product. And here is the question nobody asks often enough. Why are you buying a blend at all? If you want spreadability, leave real butter out for a few minutes. Use a butter crock. Buy a softer, real butter. But if what you really want is butter, why keep drifting toward products that get easier only by becoming less like butter? Number 4 is, I can't believe it's not Butter Original Spread. This brand may be the single most successful naming trick in the entire refrigerated aisle. It uses the word butter in giant emotional letters, then protects itself with the joke. Of course, it is not butter. The name told you. End of discussion. But that is exactly why it works. It lets the brand borrow butter's identity without having to be butter. The front of the package makes your brain think comfort, toast, popcorn, baked potatoes, family dinners. The legal distinction happens in the background, while the emotional association happens up front. On the official product page, this is an original spread. A spread. Not butter, and yet millions of shoppers still talk about it as if it sits in the same category. That is the power of repetition. If you hear the word butter enough times, your brain starts filling in the rest. What makes this one especially worth avoiding is the gap between expectation and experience. People buy it thinking they are getting very close to butter, maybe even close enough that the difference does not matter. Then they cook with it, melt it, taste it next to real butter, and realize the difference absolutely matters. It is not just about health claims or calories. It is about flavor honesty. If you want butter, buy butter. Do not buy a slogan. Number 3 is Country Crock Original Spread. Country Crock is a masterclass in comfort branding. The colors are warm. The farm imagery feels old-fashioned. The name itself sounds like something your grandparents kept next to the jam, and that is what makes it so effective. It creates the emotional memory of butter even when the product is officially a spread. Country Crock's own product page calls it Original Spread. It even says Vegan Spread. That should end the debate right there. This is not dairy butter. It is a spread built to play a buttery role in your kitchen. Again, that does not make it evil. It just means you need to stop grading it as butter. The reason it ranks so high on the avoid list is because this is the product many people reach for without even realizing they have left the butter category entirely. They think they are buying a cheaper butter. They are not. They are buying something else, and once you see that clearly, the whole tub starts to look different. The bargain is not cream. The bargain is substitution. There's also a bigger food lesson here. The front of the package often sells tradition, while the ingredient identity lies in smaller print. If you want to become a smarter shopper fast, stop asking whether the branding feels wholesome. Ask whether the product is what you came for. Number 2 is Country Crock Plant Butter with avocado oil and its olive oil cousin. These products deserve their own spot because they represent a newer, more sophisticated kind of confusion. Instead of trying to sound like old school margarine, they borrow the language of premium oils: avocado oil, olive oil, plant butter. It sounds modern, expensive, and carefully designed. And maybe that is exactly why so many people assume these are premium versions of butter. But they are not butter. They are plant-based spreads. Even the product pages frame them that way. The issue here is not that they are plant-based. If you want dairy-free products, that is your choice. The issue is the halo effect created by highlighting a fashionable oil on the label. When shoppers see avocado oil or olive oil on the front, they often imagine that oil leading the product. In reality, front label highlighting and full formulation are not the same thing. A product can be made with a trendy ingredient without being mainly defined by that ingredient. And brands know how powerful those words are. Avocado sounds premium. Olive sounds Mediterranean. Plant butter sounds close enough to butter that your brain stops resisting. So why avoid these if your goal is real butter? Because they take the most premium sounding route to the same destination. A substitute wearing the costume of something richer, older, and simpler. Before we reveal number 1 and the 5 real winners, do me one favor. If you like videos that save you from expensive grocery mistakes, tap like, subscribe for more honest food rankings, and share this with one friend who still thinks every yellow tub is basically the same thing. Number 1 is Imperial Vegetable Oil Spread. If there's a product on this list that most clearly exposes the entire trick, it is Imperial. The appeal is simple. It is cheap. It is soft. It is easy. And for years, that was enough for millions of shoppers. But Imperial is not real butter. It is a vegetable oil spread. And when you buy it expecting butter, the gap between the promise and the experience gets obvious fast. The flavor is flatter. The finish is less clean. The whole thing feels like an imitation of butter's shape without butter's soul. Harsh? Maybe. But side by side, it is hard to defend. This is the bottom of the ranking because it strips the illusion down to its bones. No grass-fed romance. No cultured dairy story. No artisanal language. Just a low-cost, butter-adjacent spread that survives because many shoppers still care more about price and softness than ingredient identity. If that is your priority, Imperial will always find buyers. But if you want actual butter, this is where you stop pretending the difference does not matter. And now comes the part that actually helps your cart. 5 products that are, in fact, real butter. Number 5 is Great Value Sweet Cream Butter. I wanted to put this on the list for one reason: honesty. Walmart's own listings for Great Value Sweet Cream Butter show the simple ingredient reality many shoppers are looking for. Cream and salt for the salted version. Pasteurized cream and salt on other listings as well. That is real butter. Is it the most luxurious butter in America? No. Is it a cult favorite among pastry chefs? Also no. But if you are shopping on a budget and you just want actual butter instead of a fake buttery spread, this is one of the clearest examples that cheap and real are not always enemies. That matters because too many people think real butter automatically means premium pricing and imported foil. Sometimes it just means reading the label and finding the plain answer. Number 4 is Tillamook Extra Creamy Butter. Tillamook makes this easy because the company openly says it's extra creamy butter. It starts with 81% fat for extra creamy flavor and better spreadability. And that is already a better sign than the endless tub products trying to fake spreadability with oils and water. This is what I like about a product like Tillamook. It solves a common butter complaint without leaving the butter category. It is still butter. It is just built to deliver a smoother, richer, everyday experience. That makes it a smart middle ground for people who want something more indulgent than basic store butter, but do not want to jump straight to the most expensive. European-style bricks. On toast, it feels fuller. In scrambled eggs, it tastes cleaner. In baking, it gives you a richer platform without becoming so intense that it dominates everything else. This is the kind of butter that makes people say, wait, why does dinner taste better tonight? Number 3 is Vermont Creamery Cultured Butter. This is where we leave standard butter and enter butter with personality. Vermont Creamery says its butter makers add live bacterial cultures to fresh Vermont cream and let the cream ferment overnight before churning. That process matters because cultured butter has a deeper, slightly tangy, more layered flavor than regular sweet cream butter. If regular butter tastes warm and familiar, cultured butter tastes like it has a story. It has more depth, more character, more of that little extra note that makes a simple piece of bread feel almost restaurant level. This is not the butter I would buy only because it is butter. This is the butter I would buy when I want people to ask, what made the mashed potatoes taste so good? The only downside is that once you get used to cultured butter, plain supermarket butter can start tasting a little sleepy, but that is a good problem to have. Number 2 is Plugras European Style Butter. Plugras proudly says it is made with 82% butterfat, and that number tells you a lot. Higher butterfat means less water, richer flavor, and a texture that serious bakers usually love. There is a reason European-style butter has such a strong reputation. It behaves beautifully in pastry and gives a more luxurious finish in sauces, potatoes, and baked goods. What makes Plugras stand out is that it feels like a product created for people who care about performance, not just branding. It is not screaming for attention with trendy claims. It is simply trying to be excellent butter. That is a very different energy from a spread that needs 6 front label ideas to convince you it belongs near your toast. If you bake often, this is one of the smartest upgrades you can make. It is the kind of butter that makes laminated dough flakier, shortbread richer, and frosting feel a little silkier. It is not magic. It is just butter, being allowed to be butter. And number 1 is Kerrygold Pure Irish Butter. Some products become famous because of marketing. Kerrygold became famous because people tasted it once and then kept talking. The company's whole identity is built around milk from Irish grass-fed cows, and that matters because grass-fed milk often produces a butter that looks deeper in color and tastes richer and more complex. Kerrygold has that unmistakable golden look people notice right away. But the real reason it wins is balance. It is rich without feeling heavy. It is creamy without tasting dull. It spreads beautifully, melts beautifully, and manages to make even very simple food feel upgraded. A baked potato becomes something you actually slow down for. Toast becomes breakfast, worth remembering. Even plain noodles with butter and salt suddenly taste like a comfort meal from another era. This is the butter that reminds you why real butter still matters in the first place. Not because it is trendy, not because the package says the right buzzwords, but because the taste is honest. You can feel what it is trying to be, and it does not need a disguise. So here's the final takeaway. If a product says spread, buttery spread, vegetable oil spread, or light butter with oil, believe it. Believe the exact words on the label. Do not let color, nostalgia, farm imagery, or health halo language make the decision for you. If you want real butter, the shortest path is still the simplest path. Read the name, Read the ingredients and stop letting imitation products borrow butter's reputation. The butter aisle is full of products that want the romance of butter without the responsibility of being butter. They want the glow, the memory, the comfort, the toast shot, the mashed potato moment. But at the end of the day, real butter does not have to cosplay as anything. It is cream. It is salt. It is richness you can actually taste. And once you train your eye to see that difference, shopping changes. You stop falling for Buttery. You stop paying for oil in a butter costume. You stop assuming every familiar tub is a safe shortcut. And maybe most importantly, you start giving your food the ingredient it was asking for all along. Because the truth is, this was never just about butter. It was about labels, trust, and how easily comfort can be manufactured. The brands on the avoid list know most people shop fast, remember old commercials, and make decisions with tired eyes. The brands on the real list do not need that much help. They can stand on what they are. So next time you open your fridge, ask yourself one question. Is that butter, or is it just pretending really well?